Why is this thing bothering me? Let me build it in nextjs. So I'm going to say create dash next dash app, and I'm going to say coffee dash website. So let me go into tailwind css. What is it? Tailwind css installation, and because we're dealing with nextjs, then we're going to use the nextjs documentation to install tailwind css in our nextjs application. So let's get the nextjs right inside here. Okay, it's finished. So let's open Visual Studio Code into coffee website. So I'm going to say code coffee dash website, which is the name of the folder that is just created because we have bootstrapped it with create next app. Okay, and then I can close this down, close. Okay, and then once we do that, because this is nextjs, I'm just going to open up my terminal and let's begin installing Tailwind right away. So I'm going to grab this, copy it, and just paste it inside here and install that. And then let's create our Tailwind css file. Oops, just copy this as this continues installing. There we go. Then let's create our Tailwind css file, and then this will create this, and this creates this, and then in our Tailwind css I just need to add this so that it doesn't so that it checks for unused css and removes it from our css file, which therefore reduces the size of our overall application. And then I need to include this in globals.css, which is inside my styles folder, and it's called globals.css, like so. And then just paste this inside. Okay, and this is already imported and we are fine. Okay, now the first thing that I want to do is just commit this to GitHub so that I can see this in my repository and so that you can access it for the finished project, of course. So what I'm going to do is how you say, I'm going to say git add all, then git commit dash m. Let me close this. Oops, close this and make this bigger. And then I'm going to say initial commit plus install tailwind css. So then I'm going to say git remote add origin and paste this inside. Oops. Oh, wait a minute. I wanted to copy this. Is that the correct one? Is that the correct one? Nope. This is the correct one. So I'm going to say git remote add origin and then paste this inside correctly. And then git push upstream origin main, like so. Okay, let's see how this looks, and we should see the comment. There we go. So now I can close this. Actually, before I close it down, let me just run my development server by saying npm run dev, which will open this up on localhost 3000. So I can just open it up localhost 3000, like so, once it loads, of course. And then let's begin working on our application. The font that I was using is called Rubik. So let me import that. Let me close this tailwind config file, and then let me go into my pages folder and into my index.js, and then let me remove all of this inside the main and the footer, and remove that. And then I'm going to say developer portfolio. This is actually the developer portfolio for someone who has specialized in making coffee websites. So let me say coffee website developer portfolio, like so. We don't have a favicon, so I'm not going to change this, but then let me just add some meta. We need meta. No, I don't think we need meta. I think nextjs will automatically inject things inside for you, or at least I hope so. Wait, my computer just hung for a moment. So inside here we're going to have our components. We're going to have our components inside here. So let's head over to fonts.google.com, where we are going to grab our font called Rubik. Let's grab the font called Rubik. Yep, there we go. And then we're going to grab the 400, the 400, the semi-bold 600, and then the 700 bold, and then I'm going to use copy this link tag and then paste it inside my head tag inside here like so. And then I need to remove this, and then I need to add a forward slash here and a forward slash here. I think that should be correct. Yep. Okay, and then for the font family inside here, I'm going to remove all of this and just specify Rubik like so with a fallback of sans serif. Okay, looking amazing. And then I'm going to grab this and move it down inside here like so. Okay, so save that. And then I should remove this, and then let's specify some of our own globals. Is that even necessary? I don't think so. I think we should be fine. I say that, but I'm always waiting for something to backfire. Okay, and probably what I can do is probably move the Figma design into another page inside here like so that it's easier to switch between them. Okay, so actually wait a minute, why hasn't this reloaded? I've deleted this, so this should reload, and the title should also change. Okay, let it just reset just a moment, and there we go. So the title has changed, and now we need to create our components folder. So let me create our components folder. In the root, I'm going to create a components folder, and for the components, the first one that I want to create is the header.js like so. And then for the header.js, what I want to do is actually I should create a data folder as well. So I'm going to create a folder called data, and then inside here I'm going to create navbar.js, which is going to house everything in our navbar. And probably a good idea would be to install UUID, which is going to generate some unique IDs for us. So I'm going to say npm install UUID, right? Oh, and I've just remembered we also need to install React icons. Yeah, we need to install React icons as well, but that's okay. So let's just create our data array as wait for this to install, and I'm going to say import UUID. Oh, wait a minute, import v4 as UUID v4 from UUID, which is the package that is going to be installed. Okay, fantastic. Let's also install React icons. So I'm going to say in npm install dash dash save. It's called react dash icons. So okay, so let's say export. We're going to create our data array, and I'm going to say export const navbar like so. This is going to be equal to an array of objects. The ID for this is going to be ID UUID v4 like so from our package, and then the title for this is going to say home, right? And then I'm going to have a URL, but this URL is going to be equal to an ID which I'm going to give. So the first one is going to be ID of home, which is basically the reason I'm doing this is because I want to have a smooth scrolling effect. Oh, and before I forget, let me add that into my global CSS. Right inside here, I'm going to say scroll dash behavior and set this to smooth. I should have set this wrong. This should be on the HTML. So move this just right about there. And I should probably specify for the buttons here as well, for the buttons, right? So that because buttons don't usually take up the font family for the on the body. And then once we do that, then we can continue to create our next one. So I'm just going to grab this and copy it down. How many times did you have? Let me check. We had how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The second one is blog, and this should be hashtag blog. The third one is what? About me, like so, or rather about dash me. And then the next one is, what is it? Testimonials. So testimonials, and say testimonials like so. And then the next one is contacts, right? Or rather pricing like so, with an idea of pricing. And then finally we have, remove this, we have contacts, and then this should be contacts. Amazing. And then once we do this, then we can create a component called navbar.js. And then inside navbar.js, I'm just going to say RAFCE like so, change this into capital N navbar, and then return a fragment inside here. And then inside here is where I'm going to be looping over my data, right? So first of all, I need to set up my state value. So I'm going to say const, let me say links, and set links. And this is going to be equal to react.useState, but I can just say useState inside here, and it should give me the option to auto import it. As you can see at the top, it auto imports it. And then I'm going to pass in my data that I get from navbar, from data. Remember, this is coming from data, from the data folder, and it's called navbar. Okay, so don't confuse this, it might be a bit confusing. And then once I do that, then I'm just going to create some how you say, I'm going to create a UL inside here. And then for this UL, I'm going to be mapping over my data. So I'm going to say links.map. And then for every link, actually I can just destructure everything all at once. So I'm going to place my two brackets like that, and then place some curly brackets. Then I'm going to say that I want to destructure the ID, the title, and the URL like so. And then inside here, I'm just going to return some list items, and the key for this is going to be the ID. And we need a key because we are returning a list, so each one of them has to be unique, and the key provides that uniqueness. And then once we have the list, I want to return an href, and the href is going to be going to the URL like so. And then the text for this is just going to say title like so. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go into header.js. I'm going to say RAFCE once again, and then change this to capital H header, and then return a fragment, and then return the header semantic element HTML5. And then once we do that, then I want to render my navbar, which is coming from my components folder, right? So I need to import navbar. So I'm going to say import navbar coming from /navbar like so. Notice that this is capital N navbar, and this is small n, but this is small n because it's coming from the components folder, and that's also how I've named it. And then once we do that, then I want to render a nav element like so. And then inside the nav element, then I'm going to place my navbar component like that. And then nothing happens on the screen because now we need to render our header into our index.js. So right inside here where I had the comments of component, I'm just going to render our header, which will be coming from components/header like so, looking amazing. So I'm going to save this, and we should see something on the screen. And we have this, and the reason why you have this is because of this class name right inside here. So I'm going to remove this so that it goes back to the top. There we go, looking amazing, looking amazing. Now what we need to do is set up our state values so that this doesn't appear by default on mobile screens. So how do we do that? Let me close this. How are we going to do that? We're going to say what? I'm going to go into my header, and then inside my header I'm going to set up my state values, which are going to be booleans. So I'm going to say const, let's say menu, and set menu like so. And then this is going to be coming from use state, and then use the auto import, which is going to auto import it at the top. And then I'm going to pass in false by default like so, right? So we need to set up some kind of toggle where this is going to be toggling to true and to false depending on the value in our state value right inside there, right? So I'm going to grab this navbar. I'm going to grab this navbar, really grab it. There you go. And then I'm going to place some curly brackets, and I'm going to say place some conditional rendering where I'm going to say that only when menu is true, that's when I want the navbar to appear. That's how you set up our conditional rendering, right? So I'm going to save that, and it should disappear because I said that only when menu is true, because of this truthy and only when it is true, that's when the navbar should appear. So if I try to change this to true, then it should appear like so, and then I'm just going to pass it back to false, which should make it disappear. Okay, looking amazing. And I'm just going to set up my what's it called, my menu button, right? So I'm going to set up my menu button inside here. So I'm going to say a div, and I want to return an icon called FA bars. Actually, no, that's not the icon that I have in my design. My design has a different icon. My design has this icon, so that's the icon that I want. So let me just go into React icons documentation so that I can see what that icon is called. Let's see, we have menu. Let's see, where is that icon? I can use this one. Let's place this back to the side, and then let's render this icon, and then we need to import it, of course. So let's import it right below this, and I'm going to say import that from react dash icons /hi should be correct. Okay, so let's save this. Let's see how this looks. Does it show? Yes, it shows right around there. So let's give it some tailwind class name. So I'm going to give this a class name of text-4xl. Right, make it just a bit bigger. Let me go inside my navbar, because now we need to create some way of toggling this. So basically what this means is I want to place the on-click event on this, so that every time that I click it, it's going to be toggling this state value to true to false, so that it shows or hides our navbar, right? So I'm going to say inside here, I'm going to say on click, and I'm going to place it my inline function like so, and I'm going to say target the set menu function, right? The set menu function which decides how our menu is going to be targeted, and I'm going to pass in the opposite of whatever the menu is currently set to. So if it's set to false, then pass in true, and if it's set to true, then pass in to false. So I'm going to save this, and let's see, and look at that. So we already have our toggle, and it's looking amazing. It's looking amazing. Now what we need to do is let's create our showcase component next. Let's create a new file called showcase.js, like so. And then inside showcase.js, let me say arrayfce. Let's return a fragment and then return a section inside here. And then this section is going to have a div with a class of overlay. And then this section needs to have a class name of, actually, not much. This should be styles.showcase. Next.js styles things a bit differently, where we're going to pass in this. So I'm just going to cut it out from here because it looks like we're not using it anywhere inside here. And then I'm going to paste it inside here. And then I'm going to say styles dot showcase, which is going to be the name of our class that we're going to target in our CSS. And then this should be styles dot overlay. So once we create our div with a class of overlay, then what I want to do is right below, or rather right inside here, I want to return an h1 that says, what is my design? I build websites for coffee shops. So I build websites for coffee shops. Now you'll notice that coffee shops is a different color from our h1. So I want to place it inside a span, like so that I can just tell it differently. And I'm going to say for coffee shops. So let's save this, and then let's render it right below this, below our header. So I'm going to render the showcase like so. Oops, showcase. This should be capital S so that it doesn't confuse me, because it's a React component. Remember that because it's a React component, it needs to start with a capital letter. If you start with a small letter, then it is an HTML5 element. Okay, so there we go. So our showcase is showing. Now what we need to do is just tell this out differently, just a bit differently, where inside here I should probably set my state values, not my state values, but my global variables. Oh my god, can't speak. So the first thing I want to do is, for all the paragraphs, I want to set the line height for all of them. So I'm going to set the line height to about 1.8 probably, and then I'm going to say that for the paragraphs, reduce the font size for each one of them to 15 pixels. And then for the h1, I want the h1 to have a font size by default, because I'm starting on smaller screens, it's going to be 36 pixels, right? But then I want to set up a media query inside here. So I'm going to say at media min width. Remember, I'm doing all this because I want to style all of this once, and I don't want to keep on styling them. Like I don't want to keep on changing the values over and over again. So for a min width of about, let's say, 992 pixels, then I want the h1 to have a font size of 72 pixels. So make it massively huge. And instead of this being 992, let me take it to 1280 pixels. So what I need to do is go into my showcase and actually inside this style CSS, because now I want to start adding some some values for me, and I'm just going to grab all of this and remove it. I said my part before. Let's say I have showcase.jpg. Let me just confirm which image this is. I don't want to have exported the wrong image. Okay, so this is our image, right? Looking amazing. So what I want to do is, remember we had a class of showcase inside here, so I want to target the class of showcase. So showcase, and I'm going to say the background should be coming from URL, and it's coming from /. So this should be / showcase mobile.jpg, like so, and then set the no repeat value to no repeat, and then set it to the center and cover, like so. And then let's set the height for this to 600 pixels because that's what we had, right? So let's reload this and let's see what happens. Okay, there you go. Okay, that's looking fantastic. And then what I want to do is I want to add a media query inside here. So at media, and I'm going to say for a min width of, let's say, about how much is this? Let's say 768 pixels, min width of 768 pixels. Then I want to change this background image, right? So I'm going to say background URL. Oops, sorry, I want to target the showcase first of all, and then say, wait, what am I doing? Yeah, background, then URL. Set this to /showcase.jpg, like so. Set the no repeat, background repeat to no repeat, and then say center /cover, like so. And then set the height. We don't need to reset the height because it's already at 600 pixels. So let's save that, and let's see how this would work. Let's see, and look at that. So our image changes correctly. Okay, looking fantastic. Look how massive this header is. Okay, so the next that we need to do is go back into our header and then position this header as fixed, right? So I'm going to say, give this a class name of, because we're using tailwindcss, and I'm going to say position this as absolute spelling. There we go. Okay, and then because I want this text to always be in the center, so I'm going to go back inside here, and for the showcase I want to target the overlay next. So the class of overlay, remember we added the styles.overlay inside here, which is coming from home.module.css. So inside here I'm going to say, first of all, I want to add a very slight orange background color, as you can see right inside here. And let me just confirm what this color was because I've forgotten. Where's my rectangle 1? So I want rectangle 2, and this is the color inside here with 33% opacity. So I'm just going to copy this, right? And then inside here I want to say background dash color. Set this to paste this in. Let me just paste this in inside here first of all, because I don't know the RGB value for it, but you can use hue, saturation, and lightness, and then add an alpha value of 0.33%. That should be fine. Okay, there we go, right above. And then set the height for this to 600 pixels as well, so that it will go all the way to the bottom, like so. And then the next thing that I want to do is display this as a flexbox, so that it will go to the center when I say justify content to the center, is it? Or align it in center. So let me say display flex, and then align dash items, set to the center, and then justify content. Set this to the center as well. Move it downwards like so. And then the next that I want to do is just say text align to the center, which will move this inwards like that, looking amazing. Okay, so let's go back into our header, and then let me give this a class name of text white to make it white, like so. Okay, and then for the header, let me add some padding on the header. Let me say padding all around of 5. Okay, then let me see what happens here. Okay, so when I click this, then this drops down as well, which I don't really mind. I think it looks cool. Now the next that I want to do is just tell this number a bit, and because I don't want to keep on toggling this, I just want to set this to true first of all, so that it always shows. And then for the nav, I want to give this a class name of bg white, like so. And then I'm going to say set this to a width of, let's say, width of around how much? 75%, which is 3/4. Oops, I'm doing something wrong. let me see what with full does. So instead of having this here, okay, I'm going to grab this and place it inside a div, paste this inside, and then inside this div give this a class name of bg-white, and then let's say width-full. Nothing happens, really, probably because of position absolute inside here. So if I say this to width full as well, then it should go to the end now. Okay, there you go. So I didn't really need this. It's because I forgot some CSS and I needed to add width full here. So right inside the navbar, I'm going to give this a class name of width-3/4, which is going to take up 75% of the screen. Seriously? Oh, that is great. That is great. Then I need to say bg-white, like so. Okay, then let me add some padding inside here. I'm going to say padding all round of 5, and then let's add a rounded border, so rounded, and then let's give it a box shadow of, let's say, shadow large. Okay, that's looking nice. Okay, and then for the menu, obviously for the menu, what I want to do is I want to have a cursor point on this, right? So probably what I should have done is place this inside a button. So I'm going to cut it out, then place it inside a button. And the simple reason why I'm placing it inside a button is because I want that when I click it, it will give me an outline, like so. This is for accessibility purposes. And then once I do that, probably should set this to width full instead of width-3/4. And then probably let me set this to 6XL, make it massive for no reason apparently. Okay, and then now let's go into our navbar component so that I can space these list items out just a bit. So I'm going to get it inside here, give this a class name of margin on the Y of 2, spaces them out just a bit, and then let's say uppercase, change them all to uppercase. Let me see how this would look. Okay, that looks horrible. Let's say uppercase, let's say text-XL, let's say font-bold. How would that look? That looks horrible. Let's just deal with that. That is much better. Okay, so once you do this, then I think we will be done with this navbar. Then the next thing that I need to do is just go back into my my header.js and change this to false, so that it's false by default, like so. And then for bigger screens, obviously what I need to do is now change this up just a bit. So right around 768 pixels, then I need to change this out, right? So I'm going to go back inside here, and I'm going to say for medium screens, which is 768 pixels in Tailwind CSS, as you can see right there. Then I want to say bg transparent, and then I'm going to say for MD, once again, I'm going to say width-auto, like so. For MD, I'm going to say padding-0. Okay, for MD, as you can see, it's quite a lot of repetition. I'm going to say shadow-none, is it? I think it should be shadow-none, right? And then for MD, I'm going to say rounded-none. So let's see how this would look, so that we have this, right? Okay, so once we have this, then I want this to be aligned as a flex box, as flex items, right? So let me go inside my navbar inside here, and then let me reduce the size of this. So I'm going to say that for MD, I want first of all the margin to be 0, and then for MD, let's say text-base, which will return to the normal size, normal text size, font size actually, not text size. And then I want this to be flex items, so I'm going to go inside here and I'm going to give this a class name, and I'm going to say that for MD, then I want this to be flex. Then for MD, I'm going to say items-center, and then MD, I'm going to say justify-center, so, which will now bring it inside here, right about there. And then I'm going to go back inside there. I'm going to say that for MD, then I want the margin on the x-axis to be 5, which is separate them out. Correct, looking amazing. And then I'm going to go inside this href inside here, inside my anchor tag, give this a class name of MD, and I'm going to say text white, like so. So this happens, looking nice. And then let me just increase the font size, the font weight, and I'm going to say that for MD, I want the how is it, text, is it bold? Not text bold, but font bold, or then let me say semi bold, so that it uses the 600 font weight. Okay, so that we have this looking amazing. And as you can see, remember that we added some URLs to each one of them, and we're going to add them out as we continue building this out. And then obviously once you do this, then I want this to disappear. So I'm going to go back into my header right inside here, give this div, give this a class name of MD, MD, and I'm going to say, what is the class for this? Display none. What is this? What's the class for this? Hidden. I think it should be hidden. Let me reduce this back to the smaller screen, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I want to start starting this out. So I'm inside this h1, I'm going to give this a class name of text dash white, like so. And obviously font dash bold, make it bigger. And then inside this span, I'm going to give this a class name of text dash. Wait a minute, I copied something. I copied a certain color inside here, right? Was this a color? This was the color, right? Let's say text dash orange. Wait, is there text orange? No, there's no text orange. There's text yellow dash 500. Nope, let's say 400. Okay, that's too light. Let's say 800. Almost there. 700. Almost 600. 600 should be fine. I think 600 should be fine. And then once you do that, then now let's create our next section, which is the blog, right? Okay. As you can see, looking at this is probably a good idea. You know what? Let me not separate them out. Let me not put them together, is what I mean. Let me not put them together. So let's create our blog. And I've just remembered that inside here, what I want to do is add another value, inside my globals.css. I want to add another property inside here where I'm going to say that for the h2s, for all the h2s, then I want this to have, I'm just going to say apply font dash light. Font light should be fine. Or let me just say font weight because I imported it. I'm going to say font weight should be 400. Okay. And then I want to say font size here should be 24 pixels, right? And then right around here, then I want to say that for the h2s, the font size should be 36 pixels, which is basically half of this. Okay, that's looking much better. So let's go inside our blog. Let me go inside our components, create another new file called blog.js. So I'm going to go back inside here, and then I need to correct this to an E, like so. Okay, so inside our blog, what I want to do is just say RAFCE once again, change this to capital B blog, and then return a fragment. And then inside this fragment, I'm going to return a section, and then this section is going to have an h2 that says blog. And then below this, how is it structured? Okay, so we have the blog, then we have the image, and then after the image we have our h3. So also another step that I need to specify is that the h3s should be bold in weight. Should be bold in weight, and this is 18 pixels, right? This is 24 pixels. So let's specify that. Let me go back into my globals of CSS. Below this, let me add an h2 that says font weight. Set this to, was it 700? That's 800. And then I'm going to say font size for this is going to be 18 pixels by default. And then when you get to bigger screens, then I'm going to say font size, set this to 24 pixels, just so that we can remove all the globals from our minds. And then inside here, I need to pass in our image. This image is coming from /blog.jpg, was it? .png. And then the art is just going to say blog. Then below this, I'm going to turn an h3 that says read how our last client boosted sales. Let me see if we can just copy this, just so we can move faster. And then below this, we have a paragraph. We have a paragraph like so. Paragraph that says this. Copy this and then paste it inside here. And then below this, we have a button that says read full article, like so. Let's save that and then let's render it out. Let's see what we have in blog, like so. Oops, auto import it, like so, which is coming from blog. Okay, looking fantastic. So let's save that and let's see what we have on the screen. And we have this on the screen, so let's style it out. So for the blog, what I want to do inside here for the buttons, actually the buttons also have the same style, right? So what I can do is specify another value here and say that for the button, what I want to do is, oops, really, come on. For the button, I'm going to say give this a background color of, well, let me say, at apply bg dash yellow dash 700, was it? Did you use 700 for the showcase? Let me just confirm this. It was 600, so 600. Okay. And then what I want to do is change the text color to white, apply text dash white, right? And then after text white, what do we have? After text white, what did we have? I can't remember. That's okay. Let me see if this will change. Let's see. It's reloading. It's reloading. Okay, so that we're going to have this, and then let's add some padding. Let's say padding all around of 3. Right. I think that should be it. Let me add a shadow of large inside here, and then let's say that for the hover, actually let me add a border 2, and then border dash yellow dash 600, and then for the hover state, let's say bg dash transparent, like so. And then for the hover state, once again, what I want to do is change the text color, so the text, change it back to yellow dash 600. And then let's add a transition, so I'm going to say transition dash all, and then with a duration of dash 300, what is it, 0.3. And then I need to change this. I noticed this, we need to change this, so let me go back into the header, and then probably, okay, now instead of changing the header, what I can do is just say that this should have, wait, what? Okay, that also gave it almost gave me a heart attack. So let's say this should be the class of btn, so that I'm just going to apply this for the buttons that have the class of btn instead of for every button, so that I don't have to change this. And then inside here, I'm going to give this a class name of styles dot, really, I didn't import it at all, so I need to import it. So I'm going to say import styles from dot forward slash styles forward slash home dot module. Wait a minute. This is in the globals of css, right? So what I need to do is remove it from here, and then paste it inside here below this, right? And then inside here, I should import this from home.module.css, and this should say styles.btn, like so. And then I should save this so that it resets just a bit, so that we have this. Look at that, looking amazing actually. And then let's style this out. So inside our blog, I'm going to go inside this section, give this section a class name of padding on the x of 5 and padding on the y of 10. Okay, as this resets, what I want to do is let me just build out our next section, which is called the about me. So I'm going to create a new component inside here called about.js, like so. And then I'm going to say array fce, really, array fce, like so. Change this to capital about. And then inside here, I'm going to return a section. And then this section is going to be pretty much the same as the blog, where actually I can just copy stuff out. And I can just copy this, because by this, it's basically the same thing. Okay, and the reason why I haven't put them in a data array, because it's basically the same thing that we're doing, is because of our navigation, right? Because I've separated the blog and the about me section, so I want to be able to click on this to take me to the about me section, and then blog take me to the blog, which is, I don't think it's possible when you have a data array. Okay, so what I need to do is, actually I've just remembered that I didn't put IDs on this. I didn't place some IDs on this. So this says about me, right? This is coming from about dash me.png, like so. And then I should copy this text as well, just to make it faster. Copy this out and then paste it inside here. And then I should go back into the paragraph, copy this out and paste it inside here. And then this should say view pricing website. So, and then let's render it out. Below the blog, just render the about. Oops, the about, like so. Gives me the option to auto import it, as you can see at the top. And then let's see how this looks. Instead, oh, I haven't imported this. Let me just copy this and paste it inside here, like so. And we should have this. Would you look at that? This is looking amazing. It's looking really clean. This design is looking very clean. Now what I want to do is add an ID on this, and this ID is going to say about dash me, right? And then on the blog, I need to add an ID that says blog, like so. And then when I go back into index.js, right on this div, let me see, I'm going to give this an ID of home, right? So let me see if this works. Let's see blog. So we have blog, remember, notice that. Then we have about me, and that's wait a minute. Oh, okay, yeah. It actually was the reason why it scrolls. It kind of scrolls like it's above here is because we don't have some space at the bottom. But once you add more components, then you'll notice that it's going to scroll up to the about me section. So let's tell this out. Let's tell the blog. For the blog, first of all, for the h2, let me give this a class name of margin bottom of 5, pushed away from this image. And then for the paragraph, let me give this a class name of margin on the y of 5, pushed away from the image as well as the paragraph, like so. And then for the paragraph below this, let me give this a class name of padding bottom of 10, not padding but margin bottom of 10, pushed away from the button as well. Would you look at that? It's looking very clean. I really like this design, looking very clean. And then we're just going to do the same thing for the about me section. So I'm going to grab going to go here and then here as well, really, and then here as well. And then I'm just going to copy this out, just say copy, like so. Oh wait a minute, that won't work. Yep, that won't work. So I'm going to say give this a class name of margin y of 5, like so. And then I'm going to grab this. Oh, this is not margin, or this is margin bottom. And then I'm going to grab this and paste it inside here and change this to margin y. And then I'm going to go into the paragraph, paste it inside here, and then change this to margin bottom 10, like so, which will now separate it out. As you can see, looking amazing, Now for just to mention this, when you're actually building this out for your website or for someone else's website, what you would want to happen is that when you hover over this, then you can like click on them, then it will take you to the blog post or whatever, something like that, so that it's not only on the button, right? Okay, and then let me just see if I can adjust something here. Let me give this, go at the end, give this a class name of width dash full. Let me see what will happen. See what happens. So width full, I think I like width full much better, because it goes all the way to the end, so that this kind of looks like one like a card or something, okay. And then let me do the same thing for this other image. So I'm going to just copy this and then go inside my blog, inside here, and paste it inside here, like so. That is looking much better. It's looking much better. Okay, fantastic. Now that we're done with the blog and the about section, well, for the mobile version at least, should I just kill it up once and for all? I think I should, just to make things easier. So I'm going to say that for MDs, okay, what do I want to do? So for the blog, what I want to happen is that probably this, rather, the image is going to be to the left, and then this is going to be to the right, right? So what I want to do is this image is going to have, actually these two are going to be in a div of their own, And then this h3 and the paragraph and the button are going to be in another div of their own, like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the about section. So place this inside a div, and then cut this out, and then place this inside another div, like so. Looking amazing, looking amazing. And then what you need to do is right inside here, right inside the blog, right? I'm going to give this MD class of MD, and I'm going to say for medium screens, then I want this to be a grid, right? Is grid correct? I think grid is correct. And then for medium screens, I'm going to say grid columns -2, right? And then for medium screens, let me add a grid gap of 20, not 20, but 5. 20 is too much. Let's see, look at that. Would you look at that? It's looking quite nice, but not really all that nice, because as you can see, look at this. See how this looks? I don't know whether I mind that all that much, but probably it's not really a good user experience for your users, right? I don't think so. And then let me see if I can say for MD, what is the class for moving things down? Is it item center? Is it item center? Oh yeah, it is item center. Okay, so item center, so that this is always to the center. Let's see that. Yeah, I think that's much more manageable. I think this is much more manageable, right? Okay, and then what I need to do is I want to limit this width. I want to limit the width of the entire thing once we exceed around probably 1024 pixels or 1280 pixels. So inside here, I'm going to say that for extra large screens, then I want the max width to be 7XL. So max width 7XL, which will now push it to the left. Notice what happens. It will push it to the left so that we kind of have some kind of layout, and then to push it to the center, all I need to just say for XL, then I want the MX to be auto. So push it back to the center, like so. And then once you do this, then let me increase the grid gap. So I'm going to say that for extra large screens, I want the grid gap to be 10, or let's say 20. So this happens. Look at that. This is looking much better, much cleaner. It's looking much cleaner. And then I just want to do the same thing for the about me section. So what I'm going to do is just copy all of this, copy this, and then go to about, and then just paste it inside here. And look at that, looking amazing, right? Now, one thing that I do want to do is I want this to go to the left. Sorry, I want this to go to the right, and then this to come to the left. I don't know whether do I want to do that? Let's see. So what I can do instead of having this to the bottom, I can grab this, and then I can move it up above this div, right? So that when I save this, then this would happen, like so. But then notice what happens on smaller screens. Now this happens, right? So for smaller screens, I still want this to be at the top. So what I can do inside here is I can say flex. Let's see that. That happens, and then say let's say flex call reverse. Flex call reverse. This will now put the image on the top. Look at that. So now the image is on the top, and then the text at the bottom. And then when I get to medium screens, which is about 768 pixels, then this happens. And that's looking amazing. It's looking amazing. And then this is also limited. Notice how this is also limited, so that we kind of have the same kind of spacing in between every section. And then once you deal with the about me section, I can now close this, and I can close this, and then I can go into my testimonial section next. And for this section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a data array, because I don't want to keep repeating all of this. So let me just close this header, and then close this showcase as well. And then I think I can close this navbar. Okay. And then I'm going to create a new component inside here called testimonials.js, like so. And then I'm going to say for the testimonial.js, I want to just say RAFC first of all, and then just leave it hanging. And then I'm going to go into my data folder and create a new file called testimonials.js, like so. And then inside here, I'm going to say import v4 as v4, as uuid v4, and this is coming from the package we installed called uuid, like that. I apologize if you can hear some noise in the background. And then this is going to say, I'm going to say export const testimonial. So I'm giving it a name, testimonials, so that I can import it as a named import. And this is going to be an array of objects, like so. And the ID for this is going to be uuid v4, right? Like so. And then this is going to have an image which is coming from /jane-do-1.png, png, really, png, like so. And then once we do this, then we should have what? For the quotes, for these quotes, I'm going to add them inside my HTML, inside our JSX, actually, not HTML. Okay, because it's the same thing for this one, as well as for this one. It's the same thing. So what we need to do is now give the title. So rather, let me just say the name. This is Jane Doe, like so. And then let's say title, let's say founder, some company, like so. And then we're going to have some text in the description. So description, I'm just going to copy this out so that to make things faster. I'm going to copy this and just paste it inside here, like so. And then we need to do this 3 more times. I'm just going to grab this and copy it down 3 more times. This is going to say Jane Doe 2, right? This is still Jane Doe. This is still like some company, and this is still the same text. And probably I shouldn't have this space. Shouldn't have this space in this space. And then this, the image for this is John-Doe, like so. Why do I keep misspelling that? And then this is John Doe as well. Then the founder of some company, and then the text, like so. And then now, once we have our data array, then I'm going to go back into my component. Remember, now this is my component. And then inside here, I want to return let's return a section, right? This section is going to have an H that says testimonials, like so. Okay, let's save that. And then I need to import my data array, right? So what I'm going to do is set up my state values so that I can auto import my data array. So I'm going to say const cards and set cards. This is equal to use state, like so. Auto imports it, right? And then I want to auto import my data, so which is coming from testimonials, like that. Really, it's not giving me the option to auto import. Okay, that's fine. So let's say import, import, it's a named import, remember, that's why we need these two curly brackets. So testimonials from /data/testimonials, like so. And this is going to be using this. Oh, you know what, this should be capital. This should be capital T. This should be capital T, like so that it doesn't conflict with our data array right there. And then once I do that, then I want to go inside here and return a div. And then inside this div, I want to map over my data. So I'm going to say cards.map. And then I want to destructure everything right away. So I'm going to destruct the ID. Well, what did you have? You have the ID, image, name, title, image, name, title, and then the description, like so. This is, and then we're just going to set up our return, and I'm going to be returning an article now, an article with the key of ID, right? And then this article with the key of ID is going to have what? How is it? I'm thinking yet I have the design. So we have inside here this is going to be our div that we've just created, and then inside this div we are going to have a div that has this image as well as this text. So let's create inside this article, we're going to have a div, and then this div is going to have an image, and the source for this is coming from image, like so. And then for the alt, I'm just going to return the name of the person in case it fails to load, like so. And then we're going to have, for this, what do we do? Because what I want to happen is I want this to display as a flex. this and this to be two divs, right? So that I can place them as flex items. So if this is the image, then I need to create another div which is going to have my h2, probably my h2 that says the name of the person, like so. And then below this h2 we're going to have a paragraph that says the description, or not the description, sorry, but the title, right? And then I'm going to go outside of this div, and then I'm going to return an image here which is coming from / and it's called quotes.png, like so. And then below this I'm going to have a paragraph that says description, like so. So let's save this, and I hope it works correctly. So let's render it out. Right inside here I'm going to render out testimonials, like so. That comes from components. Remember, now we are rendering our components. So save that, and let's see what displays on the screen. And we have this. Would you look at that? Looking amazing. It's looking amazing. Okay, sometimes building out this structure in your head is hard, but then once you keep on doing it, it becomes easier. It becomes easier even to visualize how it looks, so that you can know the structure of your cards. So inside here I want to give this a class name of bggray-100, and then I want to display them as a grid, and with the grid columns -1 and a grid gap of 5, right? And then I want to add a shadow, shadow dash large, and then after shadow large, let me just say, did I give them a rounded border inside here? No, they don't have rounded borders, they only have the box shadow. Okay, and then let's save this. Let's see what happens. So it should be like that. Okay, and the reason why this grid isn't working is because it shouldn't be here. Instead, it should be on the section. Sorry, not on this parent div, right? Give this a class name, paste it inside here, like so. And that's why I actually added this div inside here instead of having this section. The reason why I didn't place this on the section is because this will also count as a grid, which I don't want to happen. Let's increase this graph to 10 so that you can see it more clearly. And then on the section inside here, let me give this a class name of padding on the x of 5, just to push everything away from the margin so that you can see our cards. And then I want this to go to the center. Actually, is it to the center? I don't have my blog, my headings to the center. So you know what? Just to maintain everything, I'm just going to keep it to the left, and then give this a class name of margin bottom of 5, because that's what we also had on this top section. And then for this, for the testimonials, what I want to do is add a padding on the y-axis of 10, which will push it away further, just so that we can separate from this. Okay. And then what we need to do is now go inside this article, and inside the article, I'm going to give this a class name of padding of 5 all round, which will push this inwards like so. And then what we need to do is now grab this and place it as a flex item, right? So inside this div, right, the div that has our image, and then this, the h2 and the paragraph. So I'm going to give this a class name of flex, like so. And then item center, so that it pushes it down just a bit. It comes down, not pushes it down. And then I'm going to go inside this div, the second div, and I'm going to say class name of margin left. Let's say margin left of 5. Separate it out just a bit. Correct, looking amazing. And then what we need to do is I'm going to go back inside this div and then add a margin bottom. I'm going to say margin bottom of 5, like so. And then I'm going to go inside this paragraph now, and inside this paragraph I'm going to say margin top of 5, which will push it away from these quotes. Look at that, looking amazing, And then now all we need to do is just scale it up, and you can scale it up very easily. I can just go inside this div, and I'm going to say that for medium screens, then I want the grid columns to be 2, and then for large screens, then I want the grid columns to be 3. Let's see how this looks. Look at that, looking amazing. And then for large screens, they go into 3 columns, right? And then just like we did for this, because as you can see, I don't want this to go all the way to the end. What I want to do is limit this, right? So I'm going to limit this by going inside this section, And I'm going to say that for extra large screens, then I want the max width to be 7XL. And then for extra large screens, because I want them to go to the center, I'm going to say margin X of auto, which will push it to the center like that. Now what I want to do is, because I don't want these names to be the same size as my testimonials. So what I'm going to do is change these instead of having H2s, I'm going to change them into H4s, which will do this. And then what I want to do is go inside my probably this is looking fine, but it's still hurting my eyes a bit. So inside my global, is it my globals, right? Inside here, I'm going to add an H4, and I'm going to say that for H4 I want the font size to be, let's say, this is probably for bigger screens. I should add it inside here, and I'm going to say for the H4 I want the font size to be, let's say, this is 24 pixels, so I'm going to reduce this to 18 pixels. Is 18 looking correctly? We're going to find out in a moment. And then now that we have our testimonial sections done, right, now all you need to do is now create our pricing. And as you can guess, of course, we're going to create our data array for this as well, right? Look at that. We are building everything all at once. It's looking nice, man. It's looking nice. So let's create our data array for our pricing. So inside here, I'm going to go inside my data, create a new file called pricing.js. And then for pricing.js, I'm going to say import v4 once again as UUID v4 from the UUID package, like so. And then this should say import. Okay. And then I'm going to say export const pricing. And this is going to be equal to an array of objects once again. The ID for the first one is going to say UUID v4, like so. And then we're going to have a title, right? So the title for the first one says basic. Oops. And then it has a price, right? And the price for this is $99. Was it? Yes, $99. And then inside here, we're going to have a list. Let me call this, sorry, we're not going to have a list, but an array. And this array, I'm going to give it a class, the name of services, so that I can place these inside an array, right? So I'm going to say the first one is something. Let me just copy this, paste it downwards a bit. This is something. It's just dummy data, okay? Place some commas. This is something else, even something else. And what is the last one? Something else here, so this should be here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And then something else here, like so. And then what I need to do is just copy this down through, 2 more times. So 1, 2, and then this should say 199, this should say 299, this should say master, and then this should say professional, like so. And then what we need to add for these two, master maintenance. So master maintenance, come on, are you serious? And then once you have master maintenance, we also have 5% discount, like so. And then what discount did I have on this? 25%. So I can just go below this and say professional maintenance, and then I can say 25% discount, like so. So I'm going to save this, and then let's create our pricing components. So I'm going to go inside of my components folder, create pricing.js, and then say array fce, like so. Change this to capital P pricing, and then return a fragment. Okay, sorry for that. And then inside here, let me set up my step value. So I'm going to say const cards once again, and set cards like so, and then say use state, and then pass in, actually I need to import use state, so import it like that. And then I'm going to say pass in my pricing data, like so. Okay, and then inside here I want to return a section. this section has an h2 that says pricing, like so. And then just like we did for the testimonial section, right? Just like we did for the testimonial section, let me close this. You can see I'm returning the section inside here, and then an h2, and then finally I'm going to be returning this, right? I'm going to be returning this, but don't copy that because it's just a bit different. So inside here I'm going to return a div, and then I'm going to map over my data array. So I'm going to say pricing.map, and then just destructure everything. So place my 2 brackets and then my curly brackets, and then destructure the ID, and what was it? The ID, title, price, and services. So the ID, title, price, and services. But remember that the services here is also an array, so we're going to need to map over it once again, right? And then right inside here I'm going to say we're going to be returning what is it? We're going to be returning an article, and this article is going to have a key of ID. Once again, we need the ID because we're returning a list, and every list needs to be unique. So the only unique value that we have here is the ID, because we're also auto-generating it from the UUID package, okay? So we have an article inside here, and then this article is going to have, let's say, an H2, right? An H2 that says the price, like so. And then below this H2, we're going to have an H3. Oops. We're going to have an H3 that says the title. And then below this H3, we're going to have an unordered list. And I'm going to map over my data inside here, my services array, remember, because this is an array once again. And then I'm going to say services dot map. And then for every service, then I just want to return return a list item with the key of you know what, I should destructure the index inside here because the service is not unique. The service is not unique, right? The service inside here, because this is the same as this, right? Because so it's not unique, it will throw me an error. So what I need to do, yes, let me close this, it's bothering me. What I need to do is, the index is something else that we can get when we're destructuring, okay? So this is not something that we did in our pricing or whatever, but because it's an array, we can get the index of the array, right? And then we can also destruct it, and then we can pass it in as the key. But it's not recommended that we use the index, but for this case, then, you know, let's just use the index. And then after that, we're going to just render the service. I think that should be correct. Let's save that, and then let's render it out. Right below the testimonials, let's render the pricing that is coming from components. Okay, that is coming from the components folder. So save that, place it to the side. Let's see what we have on the screen. And we have this on the screen, looking fantastic, looking amazing. So let's begin to style it out. So inside my pricing component, right inside here, I'm going to go inside this H2, give this a class name of margin bottom of 5, and then go inside this section, give this section a class name of padding on the Y of 10, okay, and then padding on the X of 5 as well. So padding on the X of 5, like so. And I've just noticed that this is probably going to have the same styling as this in a few sections. So what I'm going to do is I want to copy this because this is going to be the same. So copy this and then just paste it inside here, like so, and then save that. Stop scrolling to the top. Remember that smooth scroll effect is what we added in our global CSS right inside here. Okay, it's looking very nice. I actually like it. And then what we need to do is how do you do this? How am I going to do this? Let's see, for each of the articles, let me give these articles a class name of bg-gray-100, like so. And then let me go inside this div, give this div a class name of grid and grid columns-1 and grid gap of 10. And then let's say for the medium screens, then I want the grid columns to be 2. And then for large screens, then I want the grid columns to be 3. Grid columns to be 3. Like so. And then let's add a box shadow in each of the articles. So inside here, I'm going to say shadow dash large. And let's see, look at that, looking nice, looking nice. And then let's also add some padding all around of 5, padding all around of 5, so that this pushes inwards like so, looking fantastic. And you know what, I'm realizing that this was text aligned to the center, but now that we have done this, now that everything is aligned to the left for our design, then I'm just going to leave this aligned to the left as well. So inside here, let me give this h2 a class name of, let's say text xl. No, it's going to interfere with what I had in my global css. Yeah, it's going to interfere with that, so let me not interfere with that. Instead, let me go inside this title, the h3 title, give this a class name of text dash for excel, make it just a bit bigger. Okay, okay, yeah, that is correct. And then for the h2 inside here, I'm going to say margin bottom of 5. Oops, class name first of all, class name, and I'm going to say margin bottom of 5, pushed away. And then for this one as well, I'm going to say margin bottom of 5, pushed away from this, else, correct. And then for the list items, right inside here, I'm going to give this a class name, class name of, let's say, margin y of 2, or rather of 4. Let me see how 4 looks. 4 looks almost correct. Oh, and I've just remembered something. I wanted to render an icon each one next to each one of these list items, right? So what I can do is, there's an icon called FA check from font awesome, I think it should be FA check, like so. So instead of having this, let's return a fragment. Let's return a fragment, and then close this out, close out the fragment like so that this works. And then this will throw an error because we don't have this imported, right? So I'm going to import this from react-icons /font awesome, like so. So save that and reload it, and it should appear right there. Look at that, looking amazing, right? And then now what we need to do is, wait a minute, you know what, this should be a list item. Let's just return a list item, right? So basically what I'm returning is this is what I'm returning. Oops, copy this, cut it out, and paste it inside here. Okay, and then close out this list item like so. Okay, so everything is still the same. And then what I want to do is just say flex inside here like so. Come on, reload. Is it okay? There you go, flex, and then item center inside here, and then say items dash center. We should move this down just a bit, move it down, there you go. And then what I need to do is, actually, why do I have this? I don't need this here. Okay, there we go. And then once we do that, then what I'm going to do is that for this FA check, I'm going to give this a class name, and I'm going to say margin right of 5. Let's see how much that pushes, like so. And then change the text to green, so green dash 500. So that it's green. There you go. Looking amazing, looking nice, Now what I need to do is, remember how this has a different color from the rest, right? Notice this has a different color from the rest. So what I need to do is I need to target it individually. So I'm going to target it in my home module.css. So I'm going to say import styles. Wait a minute. Let's say import. Okay, will that work? Actually, I'm thinking that won't work. Because nextjs gives styles differently, quite a bit differently. But that's okay, So let's just add our button first of all. How did I forget our button? Actually, I can just add it below this. I can just say button, and then give this a class name of styles.btn. And then what did it say? Get. Okay, not. I will need to Okay, so for this button, then I will need to destruct it inside here, which means I have to add our button inside our data array. So let's go back into the, what was it, the pricing, and then let's add a button. So inside here, I'm going to add a button that says get professional, like so. Then I'm just going to copy this, paste it inside here, and going to say get master, like so. I'm going to paste it inside here and say get basic, like so. And then save this, and we should see our buttons. We should see our buttons somewhere, and we haven't imported the styles, so let's import the styles inside at the top. So let's say import styles from /styles/home.module.css, and we should see this on the screen. Look at that, looking fantastic, looking amazing. I actually think this looks fine. And then finally, what we need to do is add our social media, right? And let me just confirm that this is also responsive on big screens, right? Okay, there we go. So we need to just add our footer first of all. So at the bottom of this pricing, right near the bottom of this section below this div, let me add a div. Oh, wait a minute. Let me add a div with a class of bg dash yellow dash 600 with another class of width dash full with another class of border dash 1. Okay, or rather border dash 1 should be fine. Let me see how this would look if I thought it will render. That is, I can't really see anything, but I think I know why. So let's create our footer next. So inside the components, I'm going to create a footer. Oops, footer, come on, footer.js. And for footer.js, we only have our title, right? I'm just going to return a fragment first of all, then return the footer element. Really, the footer element. Come on, seriously. Okay, you know what? Let me change this first to capital. Footer like so, and then I'm going to return a footer HTML5 element. So footer like so, and then for the footer, I'm going to return an HT that says social media contacts, like so. And then below this, I'm going to have a UL with the list items with how many. There were around 6 of them. And because I don't want to create a data array, I'm just going to render them out. And I need to import those icons. I'm going to say import FA Facebook, and then FA Twitter, and then FA Instagram, and then what was the next one? FA Behance. I don't know whether this icon exists. And then we have Pinterest and Dribble. FA Pinterest and FA Dribble, like so. And these are all coming from React-icons / the font awesome library for all of them. And then I just want to do that FA Facebook first of all, like so. And then this next one is FA Twitter, and then this next one is FA Instagram, right? Okay, Instagram. And then the next one is FA Behance, and then FA Pinterest, and then finally we have FA Dribble, like so. So let's save that, and then let's go inside our index.js and let's render out the footer. So we have the footer like so, which is coming from our components footer. Where is it? Right there. So let's save that and let's see what we have on the screen. Let's see what we have on the screen. If this reloads, Facebook. I misspelled that. This is Facebook, like so. Okay, so that we have this on the screen, but I can't really see our line once again. Where I have our pricing? I wanted to add a line, but this doesn't seem to work. So what I can do is I can go to the section at the top inside here, and then just right inside here I can just say border dash b, border dash 1, Let me see what border one does. It should be a border all round. Really? Doesn't do anything. Or rather, let me say border dash yellow dash 600. You should have a border all round. At least that's what it should look like. But it doesn't happen. You know what? I'm not going to bother with it that much because I'm getting tired quite a bit. So let's render out our footer first of all. And then right inside here, I'm going to say, give this a class name flex and items dash center and justify dash center, and then give it a class of flex wrap so that it automatically goes to the next line when there's no longer any space. Okay, and then inside this list items, actually inside these icons, so I'm going to place my cursor inside here by holding down the alt key. So just place them inside here like so. Give this a class name of, let's say, width dash 36. Let's see how this looks. Oops, no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted text dash, let's say 2XL. That's what I wanted. I wanted to make them just a bit bigger. And then I'm going to go to the top inside here like so, inside this list items. Give this list items a class name of margin on the X of 5. Separate them out quite a bit like so. Okay, looking fantastic. Looking fantastic. And then for the footer, I'm going to give this a class name of padding on the X of 5. Right? And then padding on the Y of 10. So let's see how this looks. Okay, and we should have this. But then for the I think for the footer h2, I'm going to place it to the center. So I'm going to say give this a class name of text dash center like so, and then margin bottom of 5 to push it away from the icons. So that we have this, and would you look at that? Even on bigger screens, it's looking amazing. Now what you'd want to do is place some links to this so that they actually go somewhere. But this is actually looking very, very clean, and I actually love it. I do love it. Just look at me. Okay, I've just noticed something. This margin is too small, so let me add some margin on the ULs. For this pricing, I'm going to then say this UL, give this class name of margin Y of 5, pushed away from everything. Does it show? Nothing's showing. Class name margin Y5. Let's say margin Y of 10. Okay, there we go. So margin Y of 10 works correctly. So that, I think that is going to be it. But before we finish, I just want to commit this to GitHub and then deploy it to Netlify. Right? So I'm going to say git add all, git commit -m, and I'm going to say project complete, design to code. Right? And I'm going to say git push. Okay, so everything should push to GitHub. It should push to GitHub, the GitHub repository that we created in the beginning. So I'm going to push that. So just open this just to confirm that it is indeed. Okay. Okay, so 25 seconds ago. So let's head over to Netlify. I can close this down now and then close this. And then I can stop my server. Like so. And then let's just head over to Netlify. Wait, what? Let me close this terminal. We no longer need it. And then just log in. If you don't have an account, it will prompt you to log in. So don't worry about that. Prompt you to create an account with them. Okay. So let's say new site from GitHub. Okay. And then let's say coffee, because that was the name of the repository. Coffee, was it coffee website? I think it was. So coffee website like so. And I think this is not the that's not the published directory, is it? I think it should be the build. Let's just confirm that. Let's say deploy site. Deploy site. Okay, there you go. So it worked. It worked. Okay. Okay, so before I view that, actually, let me just change the name of this thing. As you can see, I don't want this name, so I'm just going to change the site name to coffee dash website. And let me say TSP designs dash coffee. Okay. Now this link is also going to be in the description if you want to look at the finished product, as well as the link to the repository if you want to look at those as well. And would you look at that? We already have this looking fantastic. Looking where's our wait a minute. Where's our navbar? Where's our we don't have our header. Don't have our header, it's missing. I don't feel like going and looking back to that. But would you look at that? We have our blog. Look at this. We have our about me. Look at that. We have our testimonial section. We have our pricing section, and then we have our social media contacts. That's looking amazing. So I'm too lazy to do our navbar once again. Okay, so that will be that. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sticking with me. And if you really do enjoy such things, I like doing live streams. And then please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video, or rather in the next stream, of course.